Hello and welcome. This is Jody Wolfthal, Google for Education trainer. So this video is going to be just some of the various things that you could do using slides. Notes do not have to be boring, but if you make your expectations clear, they can be really pretty. So I'm just going to show you some of the things that I've made in the past that you can take and change and use as you please. So this is something that I did for microscopes earlier in the year. I have here a changed slide dimension. So if you wanted to change the slide, the way that you would do that is go to File, Page Setup, and then you can see here I've changed it from the widescreen that they normally choose for you to custom, and then I've made it 8.5 by 11. And then you just hit apply and it'll look like this. So that's the first step. The second thing that I did is I found a YouTube video. Oh, sorry, these are actually my slides. I apologize. I made these slides for my students, and they're a bunch of notes basically on all the different types of microscopes. So they had to use those slides, which they did not have editing access to. So I changed the settings on here, which you can easily do when you share it with people. You can choose what type of access they have so they can find and view it. You can allow them to edit, comment, or only view, but I wanted to let them find it and also view it, anyone at the District of Palm Beach County, because that's our domain. And then you just click done. So you would want your notes, your PowerPoints to only be viewable, while the ones that they're going to take notes on, you would probably make a copy for each student when you actually assign that assignment. So there they go. They have the link to those slides, and then they're going to fill out these little boxes. So this is basically like a graphic organizer, except it looks like little Post-its. I've given them directions right here, so they know exactly what I want them to do. I want them to use the slides and then fill out the different sections for each microscope, and then with the idea of them being able to compare and contrast them later on. So they know what they're doing, they know why they're doing it, so they know exactly what I expect from them. So on the next slide, what I did is I put this picture here, and then I asked them to fill in the text boxes that I had put there already, and just label all the different parts of the microscope, which again, they would find that information in the slides that I provided for them. So those are really because this goes into a lab now. So these are the few things I just wanted to show you that you have this ability. You also have this ability to link slides. So if you're not sure how to link, all I did was type types of microscopes, just like you would type in any other text box. And then what you can do is right click on it, and that will give you the option down here to link. The shortcut for that would be hitting Control and K at the same time. So if you like using your short hand on the keyboard, you can do that as well, or you can just hit link, and then you would just paste the link when you do your sharing capabilities, right? You would grab that link right from there and then paste it and apply, and then they have access to that as well. So again, if you needed to see how to get that shareable link, it is right here. When you hit share, you could just do shareable link, copied, and then you automatically just go ahead and put that into that little box. So super convenient, super easy thing to do in slides. And you can link to anything. It does not have to be something in Google. It can be a video. It can be another website. Maybe if you find an article you want them to read. So you can link to just about anything. So that's what I'm going to show you here in this next presentation is I've linked a video. So you can see this is Amoeba Sisters on YouTube. So I like to utilize other learning capacities, especially through YouTube. So many people have already made such great content. We do not need to reinvent the wheel. So if you find a good lesson, you can just upload that video. If you wanted them to actually see a little clip of the video, you can upload it directly. So you could just type it in, Make Sisters. And then you would just choose the one you want, hit select, and then it should insert it. Things have been moving a little slowly. There was a problem retrieving the image. Okay, sometimes that happens, especially with a lot of people being on Google. That's okay. We're just gonna try it one more time. Sometimes you have to be a little bit patient. There it goes. So if you don't want it to be a link, if you want them to actually see the video, that's an option as well. So sometimes if you put it in the actual PowerPoint where you want them to take notes, they have an issue kind of taking notes and watching the video at the same time. So for that reason, I like to make it a separate link so that way they can open this up and then have the video play in a smaller box, kind of like that. Oh, right, kind of like this, and then they can actually take their notes at the same time over here. So that's why I usually give them a link as opposed to embedding the video right onto it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that. So here was the link to the video, and then I tell them watch the video and answer the questions on the next slide. So here are some questions. I give them some pictures and ask them to write some definitions, do some matching. So again, things that you would probably find on a normal worksheet. Maybe you would watch the video together in class and then have them answer these types of questions. Again, I give them a picture and ask them to write what they see. And it's very easy to put an image in here. There is a couple ways to do it. You could go insert image, okay, and you could, sorry, insert image, and then you could upload it from the computer. If you wanted to just search the web, you could do that too. And then you have these other options of taking a picture, putting the URL, getting it from your Google Photos, or even from your Google Drive. Personally, I think the easiest way to put a picture here is if you just go and Google an actual picture. So we were looking at meiosis and mitosis. Okay, so you're just going to Google it, you're going to look at images, and I'm just going to choose anything just for the sake of showing you. So if you wanted to pull this image, you're going to click and hold, and then drag it to wherever you want it to be. So if you watched as I hovered over this tab, it dropped and brought me into this PowerPoint. And then if you just let it go, it'll create the image for you, and then you can put it wherever you need on the page. So that's super convenient. It's really easy to just Google search, click, hold, and then drag, and you're gonna drag it right on over to whichever tab you want to go to. So again, you drag it right over to the tab and then you just let it go. It'll create the image and then you can do whatever you need with it. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of those. I just wanted to show you how you could do that. And then here, what's really cool is this is an open-ended question, right? I asked them to explain the different mutations, and I realized that these words were relatively new to them and that they might not know what they are. So if you have students at different levels, this is really great for differentiating instruction. And what you can do is actually link these to things that will help your students understand what they're reading. So if you follow the link, you'll see that this is going to show them the difference between genotype and phenotype, so that way they can better answer the question. I'm going to X out of that. I'm going to show you the next one, what I linked to gametes. So it's just going to be a picture to show them what gamete looks like here and this one over here, right? And how that's going to make a baby, essentially. So they can look at that infographic and be able to figure out that word. And then even though these are the same word, they do link to different images. So this image is going to be a genotype versus phenotype, and it's truly just an image as opposed to the infographic that was linked to this first one. So again, it's really simple. If you have the link, you're just going to have it highlighted here. You're going to copy it. So copy, which is the same thing as Control and C at the same time. And then you're going to right click here or Control K and hit link. And then you're going to have this option, right? And you're just going to paste it right there, which is Control V, or of course you can right click and then hit paste. And then once that's done, you're just going to hit apply and that's automatically done. So it's really simple to link things different images and things like that that'll really help your students understand the concept. So just another really fantastic thing that you can do in slides. Um, so another thing I want to show you is how you can set up a Venn diagram or really any type of graphic organizer. And then these are just squares. So there are these different shapes that you can insert. You can see you have a plethora of shapes. And I just chose a square and made a new square. You can even change the color of it by clicking on this little paint and fill color, and you can totally change all the colors of the boxes. And I've already set up all the words that I want them to use. And then what they're going to do is they're going to drag and drop into the correct side. Um, and it, oh, so you can see there are some issues sometimes when you are doing this. So if your students have issues, please try to tell them not to worry. The reason that this is doing this right now is because this circle is actually at the front of the page. So if I right click and hit order and just send it to the back, I'll easily be able to grab that. See how simple that was. So again, it's a learning experience. So realize that this might be a little frustrating for your students, just as it's a little frustrating for us sometimes. So you can set up the Venn diagram. Make sure that when you order these, they are not ordered all photosynthesis on one side, all respiration on one side, right? You want to make sure that they actually have to figure it out and move it around. So that's a really fun thing to be able to do if you're willing to try something like that. Here's another thing that I liked them to do was I made these little blurbs, which again is just a different shape. So this one is considered a call out. So what that does is it just makes the text box essentially look like a little call out, like a person would be calling. And then these are all little phrases that a chloroplast, a mitochondria, or both organelles might say. And then what the students have to do is fill in the color correctly. So if it was just chloroplast, they would fill it in green. If it was just mitochondria, they would fill it in yellow. And then if it worked for both organelles, they would fill it in blue. And just to make sure that my students actually knew how to do that, I put this over here. Remember that to fill it, you click on the paint bucket and change the color. So just as we are learning to use these new platforms, remember that your students are as well if they haven't really been using these in the past. So if you needed to figure out how to make something or move something, maybe your students might need that direction too. So try to take that into consideration that if you want them to actually do something in a productive way, something that you maybe spent a lot of time working on, give them little tips and hints on how to do what you want them to be able to do. Because remember, we don't want them to struggle with the technology aspect, right? We want the struggle to be in the actual learning. We don't want them to get stressed because technology isn't working. The struggle needs to be in the actual learning, in the education part of it. So try to make it as easy as you can for them. And just remember that this is new for them as well. So I hope this has given you some inspiration and kind of looking at slides in a new light to be able to really have some fun with your notes and getting this information for your students and new ways to assess them. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me. We are in this together because we are better together. Thanks.